Do you want to start over here and introduce yourself?
Yes. My name is LaShawn Ray. I'm the principal. It says Ray LaShawn, but it's actually LaShawn Ray. No, that's okay. My entire life I'll go to the doctor or go someplace and I'll write my name, LaShawn Ray. And I have people argue with me and say, no, you mean Ray LaShawn, you didn't do it right. No, it's LaShawn. So it happens all the time. I'm principal at John Adams Middle School in Rochester. First school of about 1,000 kids. 40% kids of color, 40% free or reduced lunch.
My name is Rick Walter. I'm the high school principal at La Crescent, Minnesota. We have about 500 kids, but we have a little declining enrollment, so that will go down for the next couple of years. I've been a principal 27 years, so I've done a little hiring.
I'm Kelly Halverson. I'm the principal at Winona Senior High, right here in Winona. I've been a principal for 10 years, and all of my years have been in Winona, but I'm not originally from Winona, so people say you're from Winona or you're Winonan. I'm still not considered a Winonan, even though I've been here for close to 18 years. So.
My name is Steve Stoppel. I'm the principal over at Cochran Fountain City Schools in Wisconsin, which is just across the river from Winona, and I actually am a Winonan. Windhawk 87.
It's all right.
Yeah, I am pre-K through 12. I am the only principal in the district. That is it. That is all. I have about 600 and whatever students. So some days I get to talk to a 3-year-old, and I go from that to a senior in high school. So it's kind of fun.
I'm Jeff Oxy. I'm the superintendent of Lewis Penaltura Public Schools. Prior to becoming the superintendent, I was the principal there for the last 4 years.
Do you guys want to turn your microphones on? They're all there. I just realized I didn't switch them on. I think it's on the table.
We're used to yelling, so we don't.
Yeah, I still have All right, the first question we have is, did you start out as a teacher, and why did you choose to become a principal?
I can start. I started off as a special ed teacher, emotional behavior disorder. I started off in the Minneapolis public school district. And the reason I became a principal is I wanted to, this sounds cliche, but I wanted to impact. I love kids. I knew I wanted to work with kids ever since I was a kid myself. My mom passed away when I was 14 years old. And I went through some tough times, and I didn't really have anybody to connect with, so to speak, within the school system or anywhere. So I just knew from that time that I wanted to help kids. And I started out in, I had a bachelor's in sociology. Graduated in 1994 with that bachelor's, and I was making $7 an hour. I said, I need to do a little something more. This bachelor isn't getting it. But I was working with kids and I was enjoying it. But at the same time, it was at the reactive end too. I mean, honestly, besides the low income, it was reactive, and I wanted to catch kids on the front end. So I went back to school, I got into education, and started working in the Minneapolis public schools. Enjoyed teaching, but thought I could do more and impact more lives in administration, so I decided to go into administration. And I started off as a dean of students. I was a dean of students for 2 years, an assistant principal for 4 years, and this is my 4th year as a lead principal.
Can you hear me if I just talk like this, Tom? I did start out as a teacher. Figured out early in my career that I was expected to play a role, and didn't really like always kind of liked making the rules rather than following them. So I decided to go into administration and write the handbooks instead of having to follow them. I was a teacher for 7 years. I was a principal in my 20s, and I've been doing it 27 years, and I enjoy going to work every day. It's still fun. principal has some advantages, and that not only get to see kids change and improve, but you get to see teachers change and improve. And I think the older I get, I almost enjoy that more than the kids. It's still fun watching kids grow, but it's fun watching young adults grow into veterans and improve their skills.
I was always a rule follower, so I started out as a teacher and had no desire after 3 years at all to stay in education, and started looking elsewhere and discussing jobs, and this was in the winter time, and it was just kind of fate for me that my principal came to me at that point and asked if I had ever considered being a principal, and at that point I wasn't even going to be a teacher the following year, so I said no, I've never thought about it. He brought me to one principal's conference on law and discipline, and I was hooked, and that was what I was going to do. So I enrolled in school and actually started that summer, and did 2 years in administration schooling and did my internship while I was teaching. And things just, quite honestly, really fell into place for me. I went from my internship to a dean because I didn't have the license, got my license, went to assistant principal. So it was a lot about being in the right place at the right time, which I think you're going to find that education is a lot about being in the right place at the right time. But when I realized what I was going into for the great, and it is again cliche, but the greater good, the more you can impact, the more good you're going to have on everything. So, I enjoy making the handbooks, but I enjoy the getting input from students, and I enjoy input from staff. And but in the end, it's I'm going to be the one that makes that decision, and it's taken me a couple of years. The first time that someone said, well, about this or this, and I'm thinking, well, there needs to be a decision about that, and I kind of paused and thought, oh my gosh, that's me. So it does take you a while to grow into that role, but I don't think you need to have that teacher